did my video about white privilege, and black people got on there like, you don't know nothing about no fucking, you can't tell us nothing about no white privilege, man, because you ain't black. Plus, you probably racist as fuck anyway. If I can't tell y'all what it's like to not have white privilege because I'm not black, how the fuck can you tell me about having white privilege if you ain't white?
You know what, Amiri? You're right. I'm not white, and I shouldn't speak on white privilege because I'm not white. Of course! You're exactly right. How can I speak on white privilege and I'm not white, right? That's ridiculous. I just wish I had somebody white who could, like, say what's on my mind.
A few years back, white Americans were asked whether or not we believed that racial discrimination was still a significant national problem for people of color, or whether it was just a problem, you know, like junk mail. They also asked black and brown folk this question. Folks of color, it won't surprise you, said, yes, it is a significant problem, actually, and not just because I read about it in the sociology textbook. And they asked white folks, is it or is it not a significant national problem, racial discrimination for people of color and against people of color? And only 6%, 6 out of 100 said yes, that it was a significant national problem. Just to give you an idea of how bad that is, I would have you compare it to a survey taken a few years earlier where approximately 12% of white Americans said we believe there was a fairly decent chance that Elvis Presley might still be alive. I don't know how good you are at math. I'm not very good myself, but that's a ratio that I can calculate. What that means is that white Americans are twice as likely to believe that Elvis might still be alive than we are to believe what people of color tell us they experience on a fairly regular basis. If I were to ask you, do you believe that folks of color had equal opportunity and were treated equally in this country in 1963? Or whether or not black children were treated equally in schools and had equal educational opportunity in 1962, I know right now that no one in here would say, well, of course, you know, naturally they did. 1963, that was a damn good year to be black or brown in America. What are you talking about? Everyone, regardless of your position about 2007, would quickly acknowledge how bad it was back in the day because it's no sweat off your back. What do you think white folks said when those very questions were put to them in 1963? These ancestors of ours were asked the very same question in 1963. Do you think that people of color, they didn't use that term, it said racial minorities. Do you think that racial minorities are treated equally in your community? And 80% of white folks said yes. In 1962, when Gallup asked, do you think that black children receive equal educational opportunity in your community? 90% approximately of white folks said yes. Nothing to see here. What is all this complaining? What is this march on Washington?
You know what, Tim? I think I'm going to start letting you do a lot more talking, man. You got a lot to say, and I like the way you say it, brother.